Hey, everybody, how you doing? Woo! Welcome to PHLY Flyers postgame presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. Joining me tonight, it is Broad Street Hockey's Kelly Hinkle. Kelly, I know a lot of people out there. I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, we're messing up our chances for Michael Misa, whatever it is.
Shut up.
Listen, I am probably as pro Team Tank as we're going to get on this show. But it's nice to beat the Penguins. It is nice to beat the Penguins. They are terrible. And we're going to talk about the Flyers. And listen, I love what we got out of the Cates line tonight. I want to ask Charlie about Cates up against some of these generational number one overall picks he's been matched up with recently, and how the matchup has really gone in Noah Cates' favor. Matvei Michkov, a couple of points. That line continues to look really good. But my God, the Penguins are terrible. And this game, through like 30 minutes, we were sitting there.
Snooze fest.
Like, it was terrible.
Yeah.
The Flyers are up 2-1, 2-0, and we're like, all right, but what's going on? Like, I'm putting the outline together, and it's like, well, we have trade deadline stuff to talk about. We can just do Michkov forever because that's fun. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, this thing became very interesting. Yeah. And then the Cates line takes over second part of the second period, and we get a rout. Was it interesting? For us, it was, because we just beat the hell out of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
That part's always fun. Are you upset you can never wear a hat again?
It's. I was wondering. Listen, 2 secondary assists for Michkov tonight. I think we got to keep the hat thing going. Listen, it wasn't.
At least one more game.
At least one more.
You got to test it.
They have the Penguins again on Thursday, and in case you haven't heard, it's an ESPN Plus Hulu game, so it's going to start at 7:30.
Thank God Charlie's
nothing like that national audience for
Flyers Penguins on a
two teams
Thursday.
battling over the fourth overall pick, basically. But listen, tonight was, if you can't, you got to be able to let go and have fun during this. Listen, it's better for the Flyers to lose, but it's the Penguins, and beating them is cool. Keeping Sidney Crosby off the board is cool. Yeah. Not losing to a team that has beaten the crap out of us for the better part of 20 years. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I'm just going to assume that everyone had fun watching this game because it was fun. Like, we were on a Bobby Brink hat trick watch on a Tuesday.
That's the Penguins need to lose too, so they can get a bunch of good players, and the Flyers could absolutely use a whole lot more talent.
Sure.
But when it's Michkov, a couple of points, when it's Foerster, Cates, and Brink all scoring like 3+ points, like, hard to Jamie Drysdale looking at making plays like the guy that we think he could one day be. It's hard to be too upset when it's like, we need these guys to be good too. So, like, if they could just, I guess, lose this game 7-6, is that what we hope to see?
I truly ask you, like, the Penguins were not, we were joking, the Pens are clearly trying, the Penguins were not trying to lose that game.
I don't know what they're trying to do out there.
They just look like crap. And to be quite honest with you, I don't want my hockey team to look like that.
No.
Not when I'm trying to make it good.
It's the question that we're going to be asking ourselves a long time. And listen, with what has happened in the past 10 years of Sixers basketball, there's certainly an argument to be made that losing on purpose, not necessarily the best thing in the world for overall culture.
No.
It's just a thought. But I had fun watching this. And let's start with Matvei Michkov tonight, because you look at his numbers right now. He picks up a couple of assists in the game. Some really good plays to pick up these assists, despite them only being secondaries. But he's now over 40 points. He broke 40 and then 41 in the game. And you just look at they actually, I put this in the outline. They actually showed the graphic in the game. Since like the turn of the century, like
First of all,
Flyers.
could we not say that? The turn of the century?
You know, since 2000.
Disrespectful to me.
We look at Flyers rookies who've had seasons like this. Simone Gagne, franchise legend. Charlie calls him, you know, the player of the aughts. It's really like he ties together two generations of this team. Like he's on the 04 team and he's on the 2010 team. He is the best since 99 2000. His rookie year, 48 points. Matt Reed in 2011-12, 47. Ghost 46 in that 15-16, and he did it in like 64 games.
So just fun.
An absurd season.
Imagine if they just let him be that player forever.
And then Jeff Carter in the first year out of the lockout had 42. So Matvei Michkov needs one to tie two-time Stanley Cup winner Jeff Carter. And he needs just 7 points to tie Simone Gagne.
I mean, he's gonna beat that record
for the best rookie season. I mean, you look at the guys who've had like 50+ point rookie seasons for the Flyers. It's mostly dudes whose jerseys are still in circulation. You know, like Bobby Clark, I think only had like 46 or so in his rookie year.
Bill Barber might have gotten there.
I think Barber had a better rookie year.
Yeah,
but
he had a really good rookie year. But
we're talking about, I mean, outside of Remberg and Lindros, like not a ton of point a game guys, huge rookie season guys. Like 50's kind of that mark we're looking for Matvei to get to, and he is well on his way with this run out of the break. And you gotta love what you're getting out of that line as a whole right now with Owen Tippett scores again. Yeah. Couturier is in on both plays. Great stuff all around from the Tippett, Coots, Michkov line.
Tippett scores on another excellent play from Matvei Michkov too. Like he really worked to make that goal happen.
Michkov gets the puck out front, gets D'd up, but doesn't quit on the play. Takes the puck back, gets it over to Coots. Coots finds Tippett on the back door for an easy tap in, and that line is working really well. We have a battle now between those two lines.
I know, we have two good lines. What a time to be alive!
I wonder. I want to ask Charlie this. Like, I wonder if Laughton, Kuzmenko, and TK are like, where the hell are you guys at?
Yeah, come on, guys.
We haven't seen much out of the TK line. I think that's the most surprising thing. Not only have the Flyers scored 6 goals in consecutive games,
which is crazy,
they've done it with literally 1 power play assist and nothing else out of Travis Konechny, who is by far the biggest offensive threat on this team. And it's really cool to see this coming together now. It would have been nicer if it all came together earlier in the season, but it looks like they have a little bit of something, at least with 2 lines right now.
Yeah, and I think it was Bush at the end of the broadcast made a good point. When you don't have, you know, a McKinnon and a McCarr, when you don't have a Sidney Crosby and a Malkin, you got to do this stuff by committee. And guess what, fam? If you score 6 goals by committee, or if you have one guy that scores 4 goals for you, it doesn't matter. Still counts as a win. So, like, it's actually really good. It's a good sign for this rebuild that these guys look this good from time to time. It means they got it.
It does. And like I really wonder what like the Cates line, and we'll talk about them in a minute, can be ultimately. But when you see Noah Cates and the success he's having against Crosby, against McDavid, you think there's really something there. And man, if Michkov can do it in, you know, this amount of ice time that he's getting, which isn't a ton. Once again, he actually led all forwards in ice time tonight, 17 minutes.
Torres is learning.
But he's still only been playing, 14 or so minutes a game lately. And it's just great to see that this thing is coming together a little bit once they finally have some continuity in the lineup.
How many games do we have left? Like 20?
23 now.
So based on the last 2 games, Michkov is on pace to score like 50 points.
Yes.
In these 23 games. I
Something
think he
like
does
that.
it.
Yeah, he can probably get to 100. There's a
Yeah.
good chance, like 90 or so. But it's just really great. And it's great. Like what I wanted after that Edmonton game was to see Couturier and especially Owen Tippett. Like, can they keep their play consistent, because that's especially with Owen Tippett.
Yes.
Yeah, we've seen him look good, and we've seen he and Michkov kind of look like they're building some chemistry, and then suddenly there's nothing there, and they get broken up for a while. I want to see them continue to build some chemistry, because there really might be something there. And when you look down the line, like, is there a line that makes sense for like Owen Tippett to be on? Maybe it really is with Matvei Michkov, and that would be tremendous to see.
Yeah.
With what they have with this line now and Foerster, Cates, Brink, it's not shocking. Like, the team was so bad in January when, that Foerster, Cates, Brink line, it's their most effective line. Also, they never scored.
Right.
Like, the scoring just absolutely dried up for them.
Yes.
And so it's, man, they're winning battles. The underlying numbers are good. Cates is really coming along as a center. But, they've combined for like 3 points in the last 9 games. So can we deploy them as much as we need to when there's no other line scoring either? Now suddenly you have a little bit of balance and you're able to play that matchup game. It's just fun to watch this whole thing coming together. And with Michkov developing at the same time, you actually see a blueprint.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing I take away from these couple of games coming out of the break, is there is a path forward. Obviously, 1C still a major hole in this lineup.
Still gotta get it.
I would like to see a dynamic defenseman added at some point. But you see the pieces starting to come together, and that's encouraging, if nothing else.
It really is, especially like you, I was dubious that Owen Tippett would have another performance like he had on Saturday, because it's very rare, I feel like, he strings together 2 very good games in a row, which is why he's so annoying. But this was another great effort from him. And if we see it again on Thursday, like, I don't even know if I'm going to know what to do with myself. Like, if that line can keep going.
That's Owen Tippett. I thought his best play of the game, forget the goal. He doesn't even get a point on the first goal, ultimately the Ristolainen goal that opened the scoring. He makes a great play in the neutral zone on Erik Karlsson to get the takeaway, and then he gets the puck to Mish. Mish finds Zamula. Zamula gets it over to Risto, and that's the first goal of the game. Just continued growing chemistry between players who are going to be a part of this thing. Like, is Sean Couturier ultimately going to be their center? I'd be shocked. But the fact that he's contributing at all is really nice. That's one of Charlie's, like, main things we talked about. Okay, what do you want to see in these final, coming out of the break 25 games? And he was like, based on the way last season ended, I want to see Sean Couturier finish strong. So far, so good. 23 games to go, but the first 2 have gone, I can't imagine them going much better.
Yeah, but I mean, we've been saying pretty much all season that, like, a lot of the reason that we might not be seeing the wingers doing what we want them to do is that no one has a center. There are no centers. So if Sean Couturier can just do this, which is be good enough, be effective enough to let these 2 guys develop their game, like, that's all we need out of him. And so far, he's like, just keep it together enough. And he's doing great. And him on the bench with Michkov was so awesome.
I was just going to ask, what was the... how funny was Couturier mic'd up?
It was so cute.
All of a sudden, he's French-Canadian again.
The French-Canadian accent comes out.
Michkov's accent somehow brings out his accent.
Yeah, and he's just, like, speaking broken. I love when people, like, speak in broken English to people who don't really speak English very well. Like, they're going to understand you better if you don't use all the words. So it's just like, you go here. Puck back.
But it was just, like, very interesting.
It was very nice to see him.
Like, Coots saying,
coaching.
Listen, I don't win them all, but I'm not going to lose one clean.
I loved that.
Like, you come in behind me every time, and you can fish that puck out. Like, just little things like that maybe Michkov's never really, like, had to do. I think that's another big part of playing with Sean Couturier is Coots is so, like, detail-oriented that it's almost an extension of having a coach on the ice. Like, the little things that Michkov can do. Like, yeah, man, how often have we heard, like, yeah, centers, you can win the faceoffs clean, but so often it comes down to the wingers coming in and contributing, battling for you. Yeah. That's just a little part of it right there. You get to see, all right, Matvei Michkov, how can we make him a better player? Well, he'll have the puck more if he contributes to more face-off wins. Like, that's huge, and that's what we're getting with him out there with Couturier and getting a little bit of that on-ice coaching.
I loved him saying that, by the way. I don't lose clean.
Yeah, I'm not going to lose it clean. So you come in.
I might lose, but I'm not going to lose it clean.
You come in, pick up the garbage, and it'll be there. Absolutely. All right, before we go any further tonight, I got to tell you about a couple of our sponsors, starting with TrueMark Financial. It feels like the holidays were so long ago, but maybe you've still got that credit card balance weighing you down. Well, think about this. What if you could pay it off faster and with zero interest until 2026? Well, with TrueMark Financial, you can, because right now TrueMark Financial is offering zero interest on balance transfers for 12 months, so all your payments can go towards reducing your balance, not just covering interest. Here's what you got to do. Transfer your existing credit card balance from another institution to a TrueMark Financial Visa credit card and take advantage of this amazing offer. But hurry up. You only have till the end of this month, so like, 3-4 more days at most? What is it, the 25th? Yeah, there's only a few more days left in this month. You have to act now. Whether you're interested in earning rewards or cash back or simply prefer a low rate for everyday purchases, with TrueMark Financial, you can choose the credit card that best fits your financial needs. So visit TrueMark.com/compare for full details and to apply today. TrueMark Financial, federally insured by the NCUA, equal opportunity lender. Terms and conditions apply. All loans subject to approval. 3% balance transfer fee applies. Standard rates apply after the promotional rate. And while we're here, why don't I tell you about Ace Hardware Home Services? That's right. Because if you have a leaky pipe at Ace Hardware Home Services, they're around the block with everything you need to fix it, including the person to do the fixing. Same goes for air conditioning issues and that faucet you said you'd fix last fall. They've got a person for all that, because now they're not just the helpful hardware folks, they're also the helpful home service and repairs folks. From plumbing to heating and cooling, they've got the trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, they're bringing helpful home, the helpful you love from the store, now to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project today. I want to talk about that Foerster Cates Brink line now, because my God, did they dominate tonight. I guess they have returned serve back to the Couturier line, but this is just another one of those, yes, this is what I want to see sort of games. And like Cates scores his 11th what was that? To put them up 2-0 in this game, I believe. That was the second goal. Yes. Yeah, that was Noah Cates from Brink. And Jakob Pelletier, congratulations, first point. First point as a Flyer. Bobby Brink grabbed that puck and made sure he got his first point as a Flyer puck. But Cates gets that one. Brink gets the primary. But it's the second one that I just absolutely love, because Tyson Foerster gets a 16th of the season. Brink gets an assist on that as well. 4 points for Bobby Brink. Huge game. This is what I need out of Tyson Foerster. Because he's got, like, I think 32 or 33 games this season with one or fewer shots on goal. And it's not for lack of puck possession. That line has the puck a lot. They are on offense a lot. They rarely get hemmed in. They rarely lose a shift. And he is the trigger man on that line. He just doesn't always seem to have a quick enough or decisive enough release. And this one was, he opened himself up. He's a righty on the left side and just blasts one home.
Rocket.
Perfect.
Yes.
I need that Tyson Foerster all the time. And a shot from him from a similar spot results in the second Cates goal. Mm-hmm. That is the Tyson Foerster we need.
Yes.
Because that dude, yeah, he has 16. That's great. He's going to get to 20 again. He's going to basically match his numbers from last year. That's all well and good.
More would be better.
Yeah, but we need Tyson Foerster to be like another Owen Tippett. We need him to be 25 to 35. We need him in that area. And like, again, that line for most of this season has by far been the Flyers' most effective line. It's been the only one that stayed together for like any length of time. They, if they're going to remain together, need to score some. And he's the guy who's going to put the puck in the net. Like, yeah, Noah Cates has a couple tonight. Bobby Brink, 4 points. it's going to be Tyson Foerster.
Right. You
who's
look at
scoring.
that line, he's the goal scorer.
If that's going to remain, like if that's going to be a viable, say, second line next year, it has to be him. He has to be like a 30-goal scorer. And what I saw out of him tonight is what I need to see much more of.
Yeah, because you're not going to get to 30 goals if you're going 3 games without a shot on net. Like that's not going to work for you.
It's just too often. Like what have they played this year? 60-some games.
Mm-hmm.
Half of them, Tyson Foerster has 0 or 1 shots on goal.
Not good.
Not enough.
No.
Not enough. Absolutely not enough. And yeah, someone I just see now, the Drysdale shift on the Foerster goal.
That was something.
Something we have to ask Charlie about.
Yes.
Drysdale makes the initial breakout pass, gets the puck in the offensive zone, misses the net, gets back, breaks up a pass, makes another one, and then eventually gets the puck over to Foerster. Like, that's the Jamie Drysdale. Speaking of dudes that we need to see that out of,
that's
maybe
the
him
thing.
more than anyone tonight. Like, yes. Yep, that's you.
So, like, nice to know it's there.
Yep.
Right? Because I don't think that might have been, like, his best shift, like, as a Flyer.
The most, like, all the stuff you need to see out of him.
Yeah. Everything he needed to do, he did, and it resulted in a goal. Like, he had a very, very good game. And this is one of those things where it's like obviously you need to see this consistently. However, you also need to see it once to know that he can do it.
Yeah.
And so now, like, it's like, okay, that is the guy that we're hoping that he can be. Now we know he exists. Now it's just a matter of him being able to do it consistently.
And this has been a real build for him.
Yes, and we knew that going in. We knew he was a project. We knew it was going to take some time. And this is probably like something that we can take as a sign that, yes, the project is moving along nicely. We are seeing some development out of him. There is a chance that he can turn into the guy that the Flyers think that he can be. And that's really encouraging.
It absolutely is. And just like he displayed a little bit of everything. It was playmaking. It was an initial outlet pass. It was the skating to get back. It was just perfect. It was a great shift for Jamie Drysdale, and in a game where a lot of guys showed you something. And again, I don't want to get too ahead of myself because the Penguins barely put up a fight in this game. I mean, the third period starts, they get the puck in the offensive zone, and immediately Brian Rust gets called for holding. Yeah. It's like Flyers to the power play. Like, okay, so you guys aren't even feigning interest in this one.
No.
It was an embarrassing effort, quite honestly, out of the Pittsburgh Penguins, which you love to see. But this is a big part of what the Flyers are doing in terms of the rebuild. They're going to compete every night. If you don't show up, they're going to kill you. And that's funny to think. Like, the Flyers beating the crap out of anyone is surprising, you know? But
that's only because we've told ourselves this team sucks. Because results-wise, they kind of do. But also they don't. Like, it's just not a bad team. That's why I've always just said, like, the tank thing was never going to work because this team was never bad enough. It's just not bad enough.
They were this roster is average-ish. And then when they're getting, you know, an 860 save percentage like they were for the first, 30 games of the season or whatever it was, like, yeah, they could have finished third worst in the league. Like, no one's going to be worse than Chicago or San Jose. That seems impossible. No. But, like, after that, it was very much on the table that this was a bottom 5 team. They could still go on a losing streak tomorrow. You know, TK tweaks an ankle or something. Suddenly you're looking at a different team.
Or Ersson turns back into a potato.
If Ersson gets hurt or just goes on a little cold streak, very possible that this thing falls off. But as long as you're getting this Sam Ersson, it's going to be very hard to finish in the bottom 5.
I just thought of something. Speaking of dudes that looked good tonight, they probably should have traded Rasmus Ristolainen like midway through the second.
Yes.
Highest value ever.
Rasmus Ristolainen.
Get on the phone.
Rasmus Ristolainen, and I mean that goal, listen, he leaned into it.
Yeah.
A little on edge that puck was. Maybe it fooled Nedeljkovic, but somehow like gets through his legs on like a side angle. But he blasts home a goal, and then a few minutes later, swats a puck out of the crease to to prevent a goal. Like if they traded him after the first period, it would have been totally justified. Risto, he's joining the Rushmore. Yeah, I saw someone tweet, like, I think Rasmus Ristolainen wants out more than we want him traded. Because, like, at this point, I would love to see Ristolainen traded, especially if you can get someone to take on that full salary and you can get even a decent return for it. Awesome.
Yeah.
But I appreciate Danny Briere having the leverage of don't have to.
Right.
The best leverage in any negotiation is I don't really care.
No.
I can walk away.
Exactly.
And that's great to have, especially when Risto's putting on this show, like multiple teams. It's not just going to be one team trying to get Rasmus Ristolainen. Now, clearing the $5 million, that could be an issue for some teams. But as long as you have that ability to go, I don't have to do it. Like, I can do it at the draft. I can do it in the offseason.
Or never.
I can do it next deadline. I have all the time in the world based on his contract. But I would like to see it happen. I think Risto wants to play in these freaking playoffs more than we want to see him traded.
Like, to be honest with you, like, he's kind of, I feel like he's earned a shot at the playoffs. And he's probably not going to get it here while he's this good.
It would be surprising.
So it would be cool for him to, like, transform his game the way that he does and be able to take that to a team that has a legit shot at winning the cup. I think Tanev might have gotten hurt tonight for the Leafs. So, you know, Danny, get on the phone.
That's one of those guys that, like, I think one of the comps for last year's deadline, like, Tanev was one of those dudes that I'm like, listen, they all signed contracts. Those guys that got moved last year, whether it was Tanev or Zadorov, I thought Risto was one of those comparables. Like, all right, we can get something done here. And now if he's out, that's even more. That's another team that could be in the market depending on how bad that injury is.
Yeah. And from what I understand, the Leafs don't have to adhere to the NHL salary cap.
Well, no. With the Canadian dollar, it's like in the metric system, the whole thing is who's to say what the rules
I can't do those
are or aren't. I do want to talk a little more about Sam Ersson because they mentioned during the broadcast, since Christmas, really, since they went away for the Christmas break. Like, what, they lose 7-3 or something to Pittsburgh in the 23rd, right before the break.
Festivus game.
Yeah, that's right. That horrible Festivus game that we were at.
Yes.
Like, since then, he's been excellent. This has been, for the most part, the Sam Ersson that we were hoping could at least prove himself some part of the future this year.
Yeah.
Whether it's as a starter or a tandem, whatever it is. I wanted to see Ersson get a shot because I respected what he did last year. I wasn't sure how good he actually was, but I thought I saw enough from November through like February to be like, there's something. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to see him actually get a legitimate chance and doesn't really have a viable backup again. It's not like this is much different than last year. He's missed some time with injury, but since the last one, he's been very, very good.
Yeah, I don't really even know what to say about it. It's just, I am, as we all know, not the biggest Sam Ersson believer. Like, I don't think he's bad, but like, I don't think he's like the solution to this problem. But it's hard to argue with the way he's been playing.
It is, and it's hard to argue with the guy joining us next. He is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor, coming to us live from the Wells Fargo Center following that 6-1 drubbing of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Charlie, thoughts on the game and any standout comments from the locker room after that beat down of the Pens?
Yeah, the Flyers just obliterated the Penguins. And look, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that the Flyers are this amazing team. They're playing well right now, to be sure. They've been strong coming out of the break. They were very good on Saturday against the Oilers. They were very good tonight. But to me, this was more about how bad the Penguins look. And I don't think they're this bad true talent-wise. They're clearly going through not necessarily even a rough spot, but just a really bad game. But it just served as a reminder that this is not your dad's Penguins team. This isn't even your older brother's Penguins team. This team is a shell of what it once was. And it's funny, I made the point that they look terrible. And I had a ton of people in my mentions immediately screaming like, "Oh, they're just going to get the first overall pick." And it's like, you know what, guys, you waited this long to see a bad Penguins team. Can you just enjoy that they're bad? Like, can you sit back and enjoy anything? Do you always have to look at the negative of every single thing? The Penguins were real good for a long time. Now they're not good. And you know what? Philadelphia fans, diehard Flyers fans, should enjoy that, because that was the story of this game for me. The Penguins looked terrible. Flyers played well. Don't get me wrong. The Noah Cates line was great. The Couturier line was really good for the second straight game. But the Penguins just looked horrible. They were overmatched in this game. And it's rare. Like, the Flyers have beaten the Penguins over the last, 10, 15 years in games, even in playoff series. They did it that one time. But the Penguins have rarely looked overmatched against the Flyers. Tonight they did, and that to me was the big story.
That's how I'm approaching this, Charlie. 6-1, great. Let's do it again on Thursday. And then if the Flyers lose out from there, hell of a season, boys. Hell of a season. But I want to ask you to start, what's the bigger surprise right now? That the Flyers have scored 6 goals in consecutive games, or if they've done it with just one single point, an assist from Travis Konechny? Which is more surprising?
It's a good question. Well, Konechny isn't on one of the two lines that's clicking right now. That's really what it boils down to. And he's kind of been not necessarily the odd man out, because it's not like he's lacking any help at all. Scott Laughton is fine, and Andrei Kuzmenko is intriguing, at least in terms of his raw talent level. But the Cates line has been strong. And obviously this Couturier line, it seems like they might have found something. Michkov has come out of the break refreshed. Couturier looks good. Tippett, I thought, had another really strong game tonight. So to me, it's less about Konechny, because you put Konechny on one of those two lines, probably it works fine too. But those two lines are working. Konechny happens to not be on one of those two lines, but it's working for the Flyers. And hey, at some point, Travis Konechny is going to score points. He's a really good player.
Absolutely. Charlie, we got the huge performance against the Oilers out of the Coots line. They were good again tonight. We get a huge performance out of Cates now. And Cates, underlying, like him matched up against McDavid, that was pretty big. What is going on with Noah Cates against generational first overalls? I say it's going pretty well right now.
Yeah, he's had 2 straight really good games. He had gone through a stretch where he hadn't scored in, I think, like 10 or 11 games, so it had been a while since he'd produced. But the play has been strong. It's not like he was playing poorly heading into the break, at least by my eye test. His numbers still look great. The line was still driving play. It was just that he just seemed a little snake-bitten. Well, obviously he wasn't producing a ton of offense on Saturday against Connor McDavid. The primary focus was just shutting down McDavid. Honestly, as good as... Look, Sidney Crosby is one of the best players in NHL history, straight up. But this version of Sidney Crosby is not as good as this version of Connor McDavid. He's just not. McDavid's in his prime. Crosby is past his prime. Still very good. I would still call him a great player, but he's not on McDavid's level now. So I think Noah Cates had about as good of a game tonight as he had against McDavid. It was just that with McDavid, you have to focus all your efforts on just slowing him down. Against Crosby, if you play that well, might be able to pop in a few points even as you're shutting him down. And it's not like, Cates only played against Crosby. He played against other people. But that line was very good. Noah Cates was very good. But it is easier, I think, to slow down this version of Sidney Crosby as compared to this current version of Connor McDavid. 2 straight games, he did it. It's just this was a slightly easier matchup than the one he got on Saturday, so he was able to pop in some points too.
Speaking of generational talents, Jamie Drysdale, I'm just kidding. Jamie Drysdale had a heck of a game tonight, and we were talking before you came, possibly his best shift as a Flyer on that Foerster goal. What was your read on it from the press box?
I don't know if it was his best shift. It was a great shift. He just barely misses out on a goal. Like that shot that he took from the slot did not miss by much. But what I liked about it was, he misses that opportunity and he didn't let it phase him. It wasn't like he got frustrated because he missed the net on a really high-quality chance. He circles back in the neutral zone, makes a really nice disruptive play to halt their move up ice, then jumps into the play a second time on the shift, and this time has a great pass to set up Tyson Foerster. It serves as a reminder that this guy does have skill. This guy does have talent. I don't know what he's going to ultimately become. I don't know if he's going to top out as a really good sheltered third pair defenseman in the Shane Goss-Spare vein. I don't know if he's going to be a second pair guy. I don't know if he could be a first pair guy. Maybe. He was, a very high pick, so I guess it's possible. But it's clear that he's getting better. And I think that's the exciting part. It's clear, number one, that he's improved to the point where he's at least a quality NHL defenseman. He's still young. He still doesn't have a lot of experience. And then he shows plays like that. He shows in plays like that he does have the high-end skill, the high-end talent, the high-end physical tools. Can he put it all together into a package that can, allow him to be an impact NHL player on a nightly basis? I don't know. I really don't. But I'm happy that at the very least he's establishing himself as a solid enough NHL player, and he's young enough where there's plausibly more upside that they can pull out of him.
Charlie, we've seen the Flyers have some really good defensive efforts, like that 15 shot against game against Jersey a few weeks ago, stuff like that. Now, they dominated the Pens tonight, but it's not as if they didn't get chances. 24 shots on goal. Sam Ersson stops 23 of them. I thought he was low-key really strong and kind of shutting down the few times that they did pressure. What'd you see out of Sam tonight?
I thought he did a really good job. This was what was noteworthy to me. I thought he did a really good job working through traffic tonight. I thought there were quite a few opportunities where the Penguins had guys in front. They had guys screening them, and Ersson found ways. He did the thing that Fedotov still struggles with, but really struggled with at the start of the year, where you can't just, as somebody said to me after the first Noah Cates goal on Twitter, when I said that Nedeljkovic looks terrible, and they were like, well, he was screened. And you know what? That's not a good enough excuse. You got to fight through the screen, especially when you have the ability to look around a screen, when it's not like there's four guys in front of you. You have to fight through screens. That is your job as a goalie, or you just have to be reading the play well enough that you're in a good enough position that even if you can't see the puck, there's a darn good chance it's going to hit you anyway. And I thought Ersson, on both counts, he did a great job finding his way through screens to locate pucks. And when he didn't locate the puck, he had set himself positionally strong enough that there was a good chance it was going to hit him anyway. I really like that element of Ersson's game. He was strong tonight. He's been strong since he's come back from Christmas. I mean, he had a .920 save percentage since Christmas going into this game. It's going to be higher now because I think he finished with like a .950 or something tonight. So it's going to be even higher. I don't think ultimately the Flyers are going to be able to make the playoffs, but if Ersson keeps playing this well, they're going to stay in the mix. That's just the way it is.
Charlie, Sam Ersson was one of two guys you said, because of the way last season ended, you wanted to see them finish strong. Now, it's only 2 games out of the break, but I would say Sean Couturier as well. 23 games left, but so far so good. Coots has looked pretty damn good since the Four Nations break.
I would say so. I had another strong game tonight. That line with him and Tippett and Michkov looking good. I actually asked John Tortorella, I believe it was yesterday, after practice, about Couturier. And I asked him, given what happened last year, given the fall off, I certainly wasn't referencing the scratching, but really just the fact that he struggled at the back half of the year, even before he got scratched. That was the whole reason why he got sat down. Are you going to be keeping a closer eye on him over these next, 6-7 weeks, just to make sure that he's still got it, more or less? And one thing that Tortorella said that was interesting to me, and I think it showed up a little bit tonight. He basically said, "Look, we're obviously trying to keep him fresh. We're trying to see what he can handle. But yeah, I'm gonna take care of him, because we need him. Some nights he might be a top line center in terms of usage. Some nights he might be a bottom 6 center in terms of usage." But he more or less hinted we're not going to run him into the ground because we know that last year he did run out of gas a bit. Well, tonight, really strong game. He was really good. He sets up that goal, the garbage time goal for Tippett, but I thought overall he was good, start to finish. You look at his time on ice, 13-5-1. Now, I don't think that is a repudiation of his play. I don't think that is John Tortorella saying, well, Sean Couturier didn't actually play that well. I didn't give him that many minutes. I think it's him trying to ensure that in a game where the Flyers are dominating, he's not burning out Couturier, because he knows this is an older player who's had multiple surgeries, who ran out of gas at the end of last season. And he doesn't want the same thing to happen this year. And I think, Bill, you asked me in like November and December, do you think that he's he's pulling back on Couturier a little bit. And my answer was no, I don't think he is, because I don't think he thinks that way, especially early in the season. I do think he might be pulling back on him a little bit now because he sees how effective he is and he doesn't want to ruin it.
No, it's working right now. The that line, they're only getting 10, 12 minutes together a night, but they have like 7 points in the last, seven goals in the last 2 games. So keep it going. Keep it going. All right, Charlie. It is now time for the 3 stars of the game presented by our friends at Rite Aid. That's right, Charlie O'Connor's 3 stars of the game presented by Rite Aid. Charlie, give us star number 3.
Yeah, star number 3, I'm going to go with a player who I feel like his contributions were forgotten given the way the rest of this game played out. I'm going to go with Rasmus Ristolainen. I thought he had a really strong game, but I think the key for me with him is what he did in the first period. Obviously, he scores the goal that opens the game, first goal of the game. But then a few minutes later, he saves a goal. He pulls a puck that's about to kind of skirt over the line. It's right there. He gets it out of danger, saves a goal. That's a 2-goal swing right there. We're talking about a goal he scores and a goal he prevents. This game is a blowout. Flyers dominate. But if it starts out 1-0 Pittsburgh, I don't know how it plays out. Flyers probably still win because the Penguins just didn't have it tonight. But hockey's weird. Maybe you get a little bit more confidence. The Flyers start getting in their heads a little bit. They don't have the crowd behind them because they're down against the Penguins. Maybe the game plays out differently. Rasmus Ristolainen in the first period when the Flyers needed him came through. For that reason, he's my 3rd star of the game.
No, you just look at the last 2 Pittsburgh games. Like one, they dominated the whole way. One where they had a chance and then suddenly they lose 8-3 because of a couple mistakes. Like that's hockey, man. All right, star number 2.
Star number 2, I'm going to go with Bobby Brink. I know he led the game in scoring, has a goal and 3 assists, 4 points, highest point total of the game. He was fantastic. Obviously, that whole line was 3 assists. You can't argue with that. And I'm happy for Brink, given the fact that I feel like he's had a good year. And then you look at his point totals and you feel like they should be higher, given the fact that he has been very impressive via the eye test. His underlying metrics are strong. This game, more than anything, felt like almost a karmic reward for all the hard work that he's put in this year. He was due for one of these games, and I'm really happy for him that he got it. 2nd star of the game, Bobby Brink.
Who is star number 1?
Yeah, star number 1 is Noah Cates. And I know he didn't, he finishes with 3 points. Brink finishes with 4, so you could argue, well, put the guy who had more points on top. Noah Cates is the engine that drives that line. He is. He's the center. He's the do-it-all, the little things guy. He's the guy, battling on the boards. He's the guy down low in the defensive zone. He was so good in this game. And again, it's kind of like the same thing with Brink, where this was sort of a karmic reward for all the good things he's done this year. But for him, he was the active driver of the good things in this game. He scores that first goal on a really great snipe. It's a short angle snipe, but it was a great shot. I mean, that is pinpoint top corner. Then he gets the goal by battling in front and gets a stick on the puck and knocks it in late in the 2nd period. And then it almost seemed like he's like, all right, Bobby, I'll get you 1 too. And he basically just passes the puck off of Brink into the net. Like, Cates wasn't just doing the little things in this game. He was doing the big things too. And that's exciting. I think Noah Cates has really this year established himself. I wouldn't quite say a fan favorite, but a guy who everybody in the fan base respects. And that's exciting because I really enjoy watching Noah Cates play. He's a really smart hockey player, and he had a great game tonight. 1st star of the game.
Yeah, Charlie. Vince called me after the 2nd period just to make sure we knew he has taken back all Noah Cates slander. So
fair.
That's the phone call. Literally clock went to 0 and my phone rang for after the 2nd period. All right, Charlie, that's it for us. Thanks for joining us. We will talk tomorrow during our 4 p.m. show. Charlie will join us for that. So make sure you all tune in. But until then, take care of yourself, my friend.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Charlie O'Connor and the Rite Aid 3 stars of the game and his appearance that we love so much as I try to
Brings me great joy.
There we go. It's an easy one, too. I didn't even need to vamp because now I got to tell you about our presenting sponsor, Bet365. So we got one of them tonight, fam. Jakob Pelletier gets his first point, but does not get his first goal as a Flyer. However, we did get that over 2.5 shots on goal for Owen Tippett. He ended the game with 4 shots on goal. Had to see that one coming. So finally, we got Bet365 at least on one of them. But regardless of the bet, whether it is my pregame props, whether it's futures, side total, you name it, I have been placing all my bets this year at Bet365, and I think you should check them out. They're one hell of a sports book, whether it's the early payouts, all the live stream events, whatever it is, you want to check out Bet365. And we have breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $100 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $100 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And while we're here, why don't I tell you about our friends at Lucy Nicotine? That's right, because Lucy Nicotine is 100% pure nicotine and always tobacco-free. Lucy Breakers and nicotine pouches. Lucy Breakers are nicotine pouches with an extra surprise. Each pouch holds a capsule that can be broken open to release extra flavor and hydration. So set yourself up with a subscription and have Lucy delivered straight to your door today. Let's level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/PHLY and use promo code PHLY to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that's lucy.co/PHLY and use code PHLY to get 20% off. And here comes that fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. All right, a couple more things I did want to get to. We did talk about Risto.
Mm-hmm.
What about Scott Laughton? That line.
Scott does not want to be traded.
Well, Charlie just put out a great article. You can read it at allphly.com. Sign up to be a diehard if you're not one already. But Charlie put out an article, and he's basically of the belief that he thinks it's possible for the first time Scott Laughton is traded. We'll talk about this plenty tomorrow. Again, 4 o'clock tomorrow, typical studio show for us. I'll be there for the first Wednesday in a long time. Tomorrow's Wednesday, right? Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
First Wednesday in a long time. But Charlie thinks it's possible Laughton is traded for the first time. The Flyers just might be comfortable doing it as more leaders sort of emerge. Mm-hmm. And as this rebuild kind of takes on a new form, like moving on from guys like Farabee and Frost shows you maybe timeline a little longer. Like, listen, they are committed to Sanheim. They are committed to TK. They are committed to Owen Tippett. So it's not as if they don't have veterans or veteran-ish guys that they've committed long-term to, but mid-early 20s guys that you thought maybe were going to be a part of this thing, moving on from them, like, that shows, okay, yeah, maybe Jet Luchenko is more like Luchenko and Michkov. They're going to be the driving force of this thing. And if that's the case, they're not going to be actual contenders until Scott Laughton's retired.
All right, slow down. I don't know if it's going to take that. If anything, to me, I feel like getting rid of the older guys and also the guys that you don't think are a part of this puzzle, like Frost and Farabee. And if they are going to move on from a Laughton or a Risto, to me, that kind of signals, like, doesn't it? It seems like a shortening of the rebuild almost, because they're saying, like, we don't.
It depends on if they go out and use this cap space
what
now,
they're going to do with it.
Or they just kind of sit on it for a little while.
I don't think this is the summer they do the big stuff. I think it's next summer still. But I feel like we've talked a lot about their ability to make tough decisions and to do the hard things. And Scott Laughton, in my mind, is the toughest, hardest thing for them to make a decision on. They don't have to trade him, but it would probably be good if they did. And he's a huge part of the room and a huge part of the organization and very popular with the fan base. So it would be a tough decision. If they can do that, that's kind of like a huge signal for the Briere front office that they are able to do these things. Because I think part of the worry with the Konechny contract was like, oh, they're never going to get rid of their guys. Like they're always going to keep their guys. Doesn't matter. So that would be huge. It does seem like the Leafs rumors are heating up. Like Drager was talking about it today. There was a whole thing on TSN about Laughton going to the Leafs possibly. So
they have wanted Scott Laughton for 3 years.
Yeah, so pay up.
It would.
Laughton for Marner. Who says no?
Me.
Oh, all right. Well, in that case, it's off.
Well, then it's off. Yeah. All right. I want to get in our daily tankathon spin next. And listen, there's been there are still some games going on and stuff, so this isn't going to be like what the standings are tomorrow when we do this all again. But I see
why we do it every day.
I see it has been updated. The Flyers somehow, the last time we did this, the Flyers were 9th from the bottom. They've won 3 in a row, and yet somehow are right now 8th from the bottom. So let's check it out. Brenna, spin that wheel. All right, we blow it up, and didn't. So they remain at 8. Didn't lose. That's great. Listen, a top 10 pick is what this team needs. If they can move up a little, that would be awesome. We'll see the results over these next 23 games if their odds increase just based on losing a bunch or if they decrease based on winning a bunch. But right now, I'd rather pick 8th than 11th. So I will absolutely take 8, and we'll do this again tomorrow and see how it goes.
Tomorrow we win.
Tomorrow we win the whole damn thing.
Exactly.
All right. Let's hit those super chats. All right, we have a few here. Let's get to this first one from Timbo Slice. Timbo, of course, why not us? This team is cooking. Only 3 points out of the wild card now, winning the whole damn thing. Love you all, PHLY. Keep up the amazing work, and also heart you. Chat. Yes, the chat always is awesome. I love seeing you in the chat when you're not here. As much as I'd like to have you on every show, I like to see us represented in the chat as well. Yeah. But they are playing well right now. Edmonton hasn't been great out of the break.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh has stunk real bad. But you can only play the teams in front of you. And this team right now is getting good goaltending.
Yep.
They have 2 forward lines cooking.
Yep.
No one on the defense is glaringly bad. That was good enough to get in the playoffs last year. Like, that is better than what anything you could have said about the Islanders or Capitals right now last year.
Yeah, I do think that this year would still require some losing on the part of other teams as well.
Yes, certainly.
Like, things would have to break our way. It would be very surprising.
As they said on
but obviously, if they get in, they're winning the cup.
There's just so many teams that, like, they're bound to play each other. So it's like, oh, look, they lost, but they lost to teams also. Like, there's just, it's the entire East, except for Buffalo, basically.
Pretty much.
So it would be cool. I doubt it. All right, let's go to JH. I heard JH made one hell of a donation at the Carnival show as well.
Yes, he is an angel, a very generous person.
All right, he says, "Woo, Kelly show, puck the Penguins. Go back to your many bridge having a city. Woo, I do.
They do be having bridges.
It is fun to beat the Penguins. Like, no matter what you really think about the rebuild,
it's never going to be bad.
It's always good to beat the Penguins.
The Penguins, the Rangers, the Devils. I'm never going to not enjoy beating those teams.
It's just nice. It's just nice when the Penguins lose.
Exactly.
Even if it ultimately serves their own purposes. You know Sidney Crosby ain't trying to lose.
No.
Like, that's the thing. You know he's not happy right now.
That team is not trying to tank.
Sidney Crosby and his endless list of accomplishments, it doesn't matter. Right now, Sidney Crosby is in the shower mad at all of his teammates, and that makes me happy.
And yeah, I like it.
All right, from Dylan Phillips. He says, I need to see what Jamie Drysdale can do with a new power play coach.
Don't we all?
I haven't actually gone back and checked it out. How did the Rocky Thompson interview go?
It went well. Charlie, I will say, kind of held his feet to the fire a little bit. Like, hey, this sucks. Why aren't you making it better?
Listen,
I mean, not in those words. He did them in Charlie words, but it was essentially, that was the question.
I had some questions in the outline before I ultimately had to get up and go. And then I saw what Charlie was adding, and I was like,
yeah,
kind of want to see this. And then, of course, 5 minutes before we go to air, I got up and left. So
Charlie did ask him some tough questions.
I will have to. I'll have to go and watch that.
Rocky tried to answer them. He did his best.
He
seems like a very nice man.
I'm just watching that power play, thinking,
it's bad.
What is the point of
what
it?
are we doing?
What are we actually trying to accomplish with this power play with no one-time options? And
what if Rocky coaches the Phantoms? That should be a good job for him, I think.
Sounds like a tremendous job for him. It's like
a promotion.
Is
a head coach.
Head coach in the AHL better than
it's
NHL forwards
in my
coach?
Opinion. Head coach.
Do we then make LePerriere the power play coach?
Oh, no. He goes and has a nice time.
Danny Heatley's right there. That's all I'm saying.
I've been saying that since you said it because I like to steal your thoughts.
Right there. All right. One from Zach Anderson here says, winning is fun, Billiam. Winning is fun. Listen, I am not here to rain on the parade of anyone, and I will accept victories over the Pittsburgh Penguins and no one else. Right now, we can run Tankathon. We can hope for all that. But Sidney Crosby being disappointed is good.
Listen.
He's experienced so little disappointment in his life.
I understand that you are worried that they're going to go on some kind of run. I said it to you during the game. I don't think it's possible for them to beat the Winnipeg Jets. I just don't think it's possible.
Yeah, that would be
if they do that, then all bets are off. Especially if they do it twice.
Yeah.
They beat them twice, all bets are off. I'm putting all of my money on them winning the cup.
We have Pittsburgh Thursday. Expect another win there because this is a defeated team.
They don't look like they're having a good time.
They do not look like a team that's and like I follow a couple of their beats, and it's like after the weekend games where it's like they played much better than the result and got nothing. Now they're just like, what are we supposed to do?
They're
here?
the Flyers like 4 years ago.
They're the Flyers in like March.
Well, fair enough. Yeah.
March of last year. And it's really similar just in terms of that goaltending.
Not good.
Excellent performances for the Flyers tonight.
Ned was bad.
He was bad. And I really can't speak for the defense in front of him either. I mean, you give up 4 goals to the Cates line. I like that line a lot. Yeah. In no game in the NHL should that line produce 4 goals.
No.
And they just spanked the Penguins.
I mean,
that team is ugh.
You just hate to see it.
You do. From our boss man Vince, he says, "Why not us?" You know what? I'm not going to dispute anybody's excitement tonight because the Penguins losing is good.
Exactly.
From Borfus, always great to hear from Borfus. Missed you guys at the carnival, sadly. Regardless, why not us? And let's go Flyers. Thank you for always making a great show. Thank you for listening. And listen, you came to the carnival. You had a great time. It seemed like everyone had a lot of fun.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody who did come and say hi. It was really cool.
It's always cool to actually be out there. Like, I'm trying to run out of the building, and people are like, "Oh, Bill, what's up, man?" Just like giving fist bumps on my way. Like, it's just cool. It's cool to be reminded that people are listening and really like us. So thank you all very much. And all the donations and everything. Cannot thank our listeners enough.
Incredible.
Y'all rock. All right, let's get this other one in from Vince. I am sorry, Noah. Listen, Vince Pellegrini in the beginning of the season was had a lot to say about Noah Cates. And listen, I've never been like a huge Cates fan. It's just he's back to what he was 2 years ago and then some.
Yeah.
Like then it was like, oh, maybe he can be like this nice little bottom 6 guy. Now it's suddenly, I don't know, man. I don't know if he'll ever be consistent on offense, but I think he's good enough that you can be like, yeah, 3C, green check. Before we go any further, just want to say we appreciate those of you watching on TV. Head over to allphly.com for more of the show. We're going to wrap up these last couple super chats here. One from Marco Bellicos 5-hole says, "No hats, Bill. No hat equals Flyers blowout." Listen, I gotta keep doing it.
Thursday.
At least one more game until as long as Matvei Michkov has multi-point games. I'm gonna go without a hat.
Thank you for your service.
I'm gonna wear a hat on tomorrow's regular show.
Sure, that doesn't count.
Pre and post game, no hats as long as Michkov keeps up this hot streak because it worked a couple days ago and it continued today. All right, and let's wrap it up with Vince Pellegrini. They are beating the Jets.
I hope you're right, Vince.
It's not the New Jersey Jets. It's not the Aaron Rodgers Jets.
It's the Winnipeg Jets, who I always forget are somehow extremely good at hockey.
Yeah, well, they have Connor Hellebuck. It's really what it comes down to.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, and they, they have Kyle Connor, who
they have good players. I just forget all about them up there.
I mean, everyone does.
I know.
But I mean, listen, Mike Sullivan forgot that Kyle Connor's real good too. Mm-hmm. Maybe you could have used the guy who's like third in the league in goals. Your leading goal scorer, the guy who leads Team USA in the league in scoring. Maybe you could have used him in the gold medal game.
Who can say?
Who's to say?
We got another one.
All right, we got one more, another one. Vince just keeps pumping them in. I want to thank Bill, Kelly, Charlie, and Brenna. It brings so much joy.
Oh, thanks, Vince.
We do what we can, Vince. Thank you for your continued support of the show that you pay us to do. All right, and that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers Postgame, presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use code PHLY365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll be back tomorrow at 4 o'clock with our regularly scheduled non-game day show. One of those. We sneak them in every now and then. Make sure you join us live for that. Follow us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the reminder bell so you never miss a live show. Get those notifications. Follow us on Twitter. At PHLY_Flyers. Go to allphly.com and hit the events tab. Come to Montreal with us. It's going to be a great time. Come to Montreal.
You will not regret it.
All right. And follow the podcast as well. Wherever you get those, just search PHLY Flyers. And Vince with another one. I also want to be thanking the Flyers community for being the best. I appreciated everyone on Sunday. We all did very much. Came up huge for us. The donations, the support, all of it. So thank you all. And check out all the interviews and everything on this YouTube page. All sorts of stuff going to be dropping over the next few days with all the interviews that Kelly and Charlie were able to conduct during and after the live show. So make sure you check that out. The Wayne Simmons one, really cool. It's up now. All right, that's it. I am Bill Matz. That is Kelly Hinkle. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. Till tomorrow. Let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.